3, 2, 1. Give it a second. And it looks like we are live. Thanks everybody for tuning in. My name is Peter, and I'm here on behalf of the Dronies team along with Dave. And we've got some special guests today. We both have Austin and Jordan over from the Solana team. And we've noticed a lot of new folks in our community over in the Discord and on Twitter. And we thought it'd be cool to do a stream where we just learn a little bit more about the network that we're launching our project on, get some people some introductions to what NFTs are, how it works, how to mint. We'll do a mint live today, and some more cool things. So we've got the Solana team here for a bit, and then we'll stick around and answer some more questions about our project specifically. But let me pass it off to start off with Austin and tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you guys do. Awesome. And how is Austin muted? Oh, hang on. I'm going to do this again. It's an OBS thing. Oh, all right, hang on. Audio output, properties. It should be good. What the heck? All right, how about now? Also, what just happened to my computer? Hang on, my whole computer just freaked out. All my window sizes reset. I don't know what happened. I'm contemplating just restarting it. Okay, try now.
Hello,
GM.
1, 2, 3. GM.
Can people hear? And my computer just changed everything yet again. Can we hear?
The birds are censoring us.
All right, I think they can hear now.
1, 2, 1, 2.
All right,
everyone's can hear us. Yep.
All right, sorry everybody. My computer is wigging out a little bit over here, but I think we're all right now. So I'll reset some of these OBS windows and we'll get going. All right, so Austin, introduce yourself.
Hi, again. I'm Austin Federa. I work for Solana Labs. I run communications here and a big chunk of our product strategies. That includes work with groups like Dronies. A lot of the reference implementations that we build. I help with some of the product specking on that, and then how we actually tell people in the community all about that. So yeah, excited to be here today. We can run through some of the mechanics of how Solana works, how NFTs in Solana are a little bit different than the NFTs in some other chains, and a few other things like that.
Awesome. And Jordan?
Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm an engineer at Solana Labs. Pretty much all of the work that I do has to do with the NFT space. I help with building all the reference implementations on the engineering side for those things. So if you've got any questions about any of the apps in the ecosystem that are being used for NFT distribution or sales or just the NFT protocol itself, I can answer those questions.
Yeah, Jordan's done a huge amount of work building a lot of the fundamental tooling that's made pretty much every NFT operation on Solana possible behind the scenes. And so great to have him here today.
Yeah, I think all of it. I mean, everything from Fair Launch, Candy Machine 2.0, and it's really cool. I think in some of our early discussions too, just some of the extra capabilities that you can do different things on Solana and how that operates and works within NFTs and whatnot. It's really interesting, and we can talk more about that. And I know one of the big things that come up is at least for us, that was a decision in choosing Solana for our project, is like speed and environmental impact. And so maybe that's something that you guys can touch on, because we get that question a lot.
Yeah, it's a really important question. Across the space of crypto, you have very different networks that have very different paradigms of design, which mean they have radically different energy usage profiles. So the short of it is Solana is an incredibly energy efficient network. It uses about as much electricity as 1,000 households over the course of an entire year. So that's quite low compared to a lot of other networks. One transaction on the network uses about as much energy as doing 2 Google searches. It's a little bit lower than that, but it's pretty much comparable with any of the Web 2 tech that you use today. And in often cases is actually more energy efficient than that. What that really means is that, if any NFT project wants to, for, 10/10ths of fractions of cents per NFT, you can make the whole thing carbon neutral. So if in environmental sustainability, energy usage is something that you care about, Solana is a great place to build a project on that allows you to have those dynamics. Now, energy efficiency here is sort of a byproduct of the network design, right? The more efficiently you design systems, the lower energy that they're going to use on a per transaction basis. So, the initial design of the network is to be incredibly fast in terms of transaction finality. So blocks close in 400 milliseconds, which means you can deliver Web 2 style experiences where you click a button and something happens and you have 100% confidence that thing actually happened, as opposed to having to wait for transactions to confirm. And the network has a really high transaction capacity. And what's really nice is, if you look at a proof of work network, their security comes from basically the amount of energy that they can use. This is why Bitcoin uses so much energy. It's designed to use that much energy. That's a whole big component of how its security model is built. Solana is built on a different architecture. So as computers get faster every year, the capacity of the network actually increases, as opposed to Bitcoin or Ethereum, where it becomes harder to mine each block. And that's just, that's not, I wouldn't say that's a design flaw in Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's just that the security of the networks come from different mechanisms. So Solana is able to be much more energy efficient and scalable because of that.
Well, that makes it easy.
Makes it really easy.
It's also tough, and we always say this on the stream. We're not here to put down any other networks or tokens or tools and services and whatnot. But a lot of folks have come over to the community and been like, yeah, I'm really excited about Solana because it is fast. The gas fees are basically non-existent. It's there, but it's 0.005 cents or something like that. And I know that's something that has created a lot of frustration for a lot of people on ETH, where you go to mint something, it's $150 NFT, but you also have to pay an additional $300 in gas. And now it's pricing out a lot of people on some of the smaller projects. And it's making it honestly hard for small projects to be successful because people are afraid to, mint in those circumstances. So it's much more like new user friendly to be on Solana and not have that kind of barrier to entry and hurdles.
Right. And it's kind of a chicken and the egg problem because, most NFT projects that end up being worth huge amounts of money, it's very hard to predict that in the future, in the moment when you're actually minting that NFT. You look at something like CryptoPunks, right? I don't think anyone necessarily anticipated they were going to go quite as high as they end up going. The same thing with like Degen Apes or something like that on Solana.
Those damn ETH rocks.
Those ETH rocks, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You see this with something like Constitution DAO too, where there's people who put in, $100, $200 to help buy the Constitution. It's not really economical for them to get a refund at this point. So they've either got to wait till the price of ETH goes up or wait till the gas drops so that becomes something that's worth doing. On Solana, that's not an issue because the transaction fees are so low. Jordan, maybe you want to talk a little bit about the role Arweave plays here too.
Yeah, so we don't actually use, some people try to use Solana for data storage, like, storage of images. It's doable. I would not recommend it. It's not the most economical way to store data. But what Solana does is it just acknowledges that it's like storing files is not what it was made to do. And so what we do is we use the Arweave chain for actually permanent web storage. So all of your NFTs generally, if they're on Solana, they're actual image data and JSON with sort of extra attributes that aren't on chain, all stored in this separate chain called Arweave, which does, you pay once to store it, and then it's stored permanently. There's no monthly fees that you're paying for bandwidth usage. You just pay a one upfront fee that's higher than you would pay to say store it on S3 or IPFS, and then you don't need a credit card anymore. You could go get hit by a bus and your image will still be there 100 years from now.
But yes.
Let's not do that. But yeah, like the point is it's
get taken out by a
forever.
bird.
Yeah, and it's immutable, can't be changed. And so we generally use that for all. It's not a requirement that a sole NFT use Arweave, but all of our tooling is keyed into use Arweave by default. You can obviously use IPFS or S3 if you want to, but we don't recommend it because it kind of goes against the idea of an NFT being, it should outlive its creators.
Yeah. And that's where I think, if I remember correctly, some earlier conversations we had around like there's different possibilities based on some of those hosting solutions as to like what you can do. Do you want to do an event where something changes or evolves, and certain solutions allow that capability and certain don't?
Yeah. So one thing I like doing if I'm building a gaming NFT, like an NFT, it's going to change a lot. I like to first store it on a very forgiving medium like S3 during the alpha and beta period, so that if I screw up, I don't have to make a whole new Arweave entry and then repoint the NFT at the new Arweave entry over time. I can just update the file, like overwrite it on S3, and the NFT just gets instantly updated. It allows for you to really perfect the game loop. And then once you've got that perfected, then you build out the ETL system that allows you to put all these things on Arweave. Because on Arweave, since things are immutable and they take a little longer to store, basically every time an NFT changes, you actually are keeping the old image on Arweave and making a whole new image, and then pointing the NFT on Solana at the new image. So it's actually a lot like Git storage, but it's like these snapshots over time. But very annoying to debug, very annoying to develop with. So I would recommend, if you're doing gaming, start simple, keep it on S3, and then a few weeks after you've perfected the gaming loop, migrate to Arweave. And there's actually a suite of tools that someone's built for just this purpose of doing the migration.
Yeah. Well, and as we get into some of the technical stuff, I'm realizing that might go over some folks' heads. So maybe just like backtracking a little bit, and just at the core, what is a SOL token? How might one get that? And then what is an NFT, and why have that validation? Versus the always funny meme comic is right click save or something. Like, what is special about having an NFT and obviously the multiple vast uses for it?
Yeah, well,
right.
I was considering buying a house, but instead I just looked at all the real estate listings and did right click save as.
Yeah, and now I own it.
Now I own a house.
So I guess so an NFT. So if you've ever used Solana or any blockchain, there's the base currency like Ether or Solana, but then you can also use these other currencies like USDC, right? When you hold USDC in your wallet, let's say you have 100 USDC in your wallet, you actually have 100 tokens in your wallet of a specific type, right? That's USDC. Well, and you could say that the USDC population on Solana, I think there's like 6 billion of them or something like that, like spread across multiple wallets, but they're all the same type of token, right? An NFT is like a different type of currency, but the supply of it is just one. There's only $1 of this currency, and it only exists in a single person's wallet. And so in that way, a Solana NFT is just the same as USDC, except the supply is extremely limited to one. And it's set up in such a way that when you view it in the wallet, there's extra metadata associated with it that says that, hey, this type of token has a picture associated with it, has a name, it has a symbol, it's part of this collection. And Phantom and other wallet software like Solflare, when they see that, they'll be like, oh, this is a special token, and they'll put it in a special section called your NFT section, and it will show up as a picture instead of a token. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you buy an NFT on Solana, you're actually buying a very limited denomination currency And because of that, you also have all of the perks of owning a Solana token. You can see where it's been. You can see, where it originated. You can see how much it costs to make it. You have this full provenance that goes over time. And it's different than right-clicking and saving the image, because you also kind of own this this real piece of, I guess you'd call it, digital property.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's all based on this idea of digital scarcity, right? Which is that,
Yep.
If we roll back the clock far enough, what you get is we get pre-mechanical society, where the ability to create a new version of something was based on the skill of the craftsman. And you get this slow process of industrialization where someone invents the lathe, right? Someone invents the loom. And suddenly all these things that used to be one-to-one, incredibly high skill things slowly become commodities, right? To the point where there's no human on the planet that can build an iPhone. It's literally impossible for a human to build an iPhone. But a bunch of humans can assemble a mechanized process for which stamps out a perfect iPhone every time, right? And so the whole concept of NFTs is an attempt to break through that sort of artificial barrier, right? For a long time, commercial photography and fine art photography, you could print 100 million copies of a famous photo, but the artist would say, oh, we're only going to print 5 or 10, or we're going to sell them as prints, and they're all going to go for $80,000 each at auction. And that is an arbitrary decision that's bound by humans and the decisions humans make. And this is just an extension of that onto the NFT space, right? There's one of my favorite projects I've seen in a little while. This wasn't this wasn't something that was built on blockchains, but there's this hilarious website called Mischief, and they do a bunch of really cool stuff, where they just like build fun products and sell them out. They did this whole thing, what was called the Museum of Forgeries, where they made a whole series of perfectly identical replicas of a Warhol drawing. And they won't tell you which one's which. They sold like 1,000 of them, and 2 of them are real and the rest are forgeries. And it's just like, it's bringing this idea that like we have the technology in the physical world to do perfect replications now. And that like, when you accept that, the concept of digital scarcity, the concept of an NFT that has enduring value, that's based on a social consensus, becomes something that like instantly makes sense. And this seems like the natural extension of really where everything's going.
Well, and I mean, there's so much more practical application beyond, like you're saying there, where, what about getting patents and trademarks, having real estate transactions? Like all this is already being worked on, but now you have verifiable proof on the ledger, on the blockchain, that is stating this person owns. Like I personally would feel safer knowing that my sale of record of my house or whatnot, or my car, is on a verifiable blockchain, and that information can be seen and traced, rather than it's just being stored at, City Hall or whatever it is. That's really cool. And we're already starting to see a lot of VC companies and startups enter those spaces, because this is very much paving the way for a lot of that like proof of ownership type stuff. So it's really fascinating to see the technology that's being put out in Web3 and in the NFT space, and where it can go.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to see.
Yeah. Well, it's
we can do some more basic stuff too, like how do you get onboarded to the network? How do you set up a wallet?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So guessing a bunch of you are already familiar with this, but for those of you who are new to the network or new to projects, I assume you have some familiarity with crypto, but even if you don't, the whole concept of crypto at its core is that using a network and being an owner of the network are synonymous with one another. So what does this mean? You hold your own assets, you hold your own keys. You're not relying on a bank or some other system to do this. And by joining a network and even holding a small amount of that token, you are a part owner of that network. This is the idea of the community network ownership. So with great power comes great responsibility. And you have to set up a wallet, and you have to not lose your private keys. And you have to make sure that you never tell anyone else what they are. The best wallet on the Solana ecosystem at this point is Phantom. It's phantom.app. I'm going to drop a link in the chat here. Make
do you
sure
want
you're
to
downloading
share
the
your
right
screen
one.
and I can show that, or I can do it on my end?
Yeah, go ahead and share it on your end. That'd be great.
Okay, cool. Give me just a second there.
I've got too many tabs open.
Oh, you don't want to know. That's probably why my computer wigged out at the beginning, because I've got 8,000 tabs going right now.
Look, it's always Chrome. Let's be honest.
Yeah. The Chrome is like always, eating 80% of my CPU.
Yep.
And I've got like 80 Phantom wallets.
Yeah.
Got a lot of wallets.
Yeah, it's a lot. Here, let's take a look here. Also,
yes, with so Phantom, as we were saying, right? Great wallet, very user friendly, really great place for NFTs. In terms of actually getting Sol, so to participate in the NFT drop, you're going to have Sol in your wallet. So in order to get that, there's a number of different centralized exchanges you can buy it on. Now, if you already have tokens in a network, there are, and you're comfortable using bridges, you can bridge Ethereum over to Solana using Wormhole. There's lots of opportunities if you're a crypto native, but I trust you can figure those out if you're already deep in that ecosystem. If not, there's lots of exchanges that support getting Sol. I don't think I'm legally allowed to name a single one of them here, but every major exchange supports Solana at this point, and you can do your own research and find your own way there. And then once you have Sol, you can transfer it into your wallet address, and that will then be in your Phantom wallet, and then you'll be ready for the mint. Now, one of the things that we always recommend, there's lots of adversarial actors in any system. Blockchain is no exception to that. It's a really good idea if you're minting an NFT for the first time, just create a new Phantom wallet, put the amount of money, the amount of Sol you need in it to do the mint, and keep nothing else in
I'm gonna
it.
do that live on the stream today.
Oh, amazing.
I'm gonna mint something.
Amazing.
We're gonna
Great.
create
We'll
a
go through
burner
that
wallet,
process
all
then.
the stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Always use burner wallets.
Yes. And you know what? While we are, let's do our first sneak peek and kind of thing. So I know Austin and Jordan just mentioned Phantom. We are huge Phantom users. That's, our preferred just overall UI UX favorite wallet to utilize. So one of the things that we have worked on, and sorry, the cameras got messed up when I moved us all around earlier. I'm just going to hide that for the moment. But we do have a nice little custom honorary here that we can see on the stream for Phantom. So we're going to be sending this over to them. Make sure you guys give them a shout out and whatnot. Go download the app. It's fantastic. To kind of get ahead to one of the questions that I know is going to get asked in one of the questions document is, what about like mobile wallets and whatnot? Because that is a tough part that, I always hate it. I've missed a couple of mints because I've had to run to my computer and get there in time. And it'd be really awesome to be able to do that on a mobile app. And I believe, and maybe you guys can correct if this information is incorrect, but I think the mobile version is coming sometime in January. So
that's our understanding. Yes.
Hopefully this will be out by the time we launch and do our drop. But yeah, big fans of Phantom. We love their little ghost, and so we've immortalized that here with our droney ghost, and he's sleuthing around. So yeah, let me switch back over to us. We'll do some more sneaks. We got a couple more customs and just see some of the generative art that we've got in our collection. We'll share some more of that throughout the day. All right, and let's see other questions that we had, because I can show the burner wallets and stuff. We want to be conscious of your guys' time. I know we don't have you the whole morning here, but we can continue on a little bit longer ourselves. Let me just find too many tabs. There we go. Live stream questions. So a couple of questions that got asked by our community were, what kind of creative things have you guys seen added in recent Solana projects that might be good additions, in this case, to our particular project or just projects in general? What are some, cool mechanics, utilities, et cetera, that you guys have been excited about?
Oh, man. So one of the things that I found particularly fun, that's like, what's really nice is like when transaction fees are no longer an issue, there's just a lot of cool stuff that you can do and build, right? It's like, you look at like the early days of the web and like you got like high-speed internet, 1.5 megabits per second cable internet connections. And suddenly just like the Web 2 world starts like taking off. So yeah, Jordan, maybe you want to talk about that the combination contract and some of that stuff that was going on with the people pleaser drop. I think that's a really great example of like the kind of fun stuff you can do with Solana NFTs.
Yeah, so if those of you who aren't familiar, people pleaser drop was 500. It was a 500 drops. There were 500 different NFTs, but they were actually, some of them were copies of each other. So there were, I think, 12 or 13 unique pieces among the 500, and each of the pieces sort of had a different appearance rate. So some of them were much more common. There were 500 of them, and a few of them were much rarer. Like there was one that there was only 15 of, a UFO of a monkey. And so what was cool about this was it was called the Collector with multiple O's. And the idea was you collect all 13 of the different types, the unique types, and you can combine them and burn all those NFTs to create one of 3 like unique one-of-one portraits. And there were, a total of 15, there's 15 max that you could do, 5 of each of the 3 different portraits. But and there was a contract that enabled that. This contract is called Fireball Candy, and it backs this website where you go and you see your wallet connected and see all the ones that are in there, and you see if you have all 13, and you can click combine, and it makes one of these unique panorama NFTs from People Pleaser. And this is something that would be quite expensive on other chains to do because it involved burning 13 things. And on other chains, each of those things would be a transaction. On Solana, you can combine multiple instructions in a single transaction, and the transactions themselves are cheap. And it's just a great, cheap, amazing collecting experience. And it's something that we're probably going to see a lot more of now that the contract is open sourced and anyone can use it. I think it's owned by Metaflex and maintained by them, so it's going to be great. And specifically, I'd like to see something like that. I think there's an opening for something like that in the Dronies universe, because Dronies is very much robot birds, right? So I was thinking, you could have some sort of randomized airdrop of Droney parts falling from the sky because there's an event. And then you could probably collect them. And if you collect all the parts of a certain type of bird, then you could actually combine and build the bird and basically mint the bird from scratch, as it were, as opposed to a normal mint. And maybe you could do this with mythics. And it's actually really similar to, if you guys ever played Monopoly in McDonald's, it's a very similar experience to collecting when you go get a Happy Meal at McDonald's, to collecting these parts. And I'm starting to see certain groups do that, like Galactic Geckos is looking at doing things like this. But no one's really done it as well as People Pleaser has. But I think in the future mints are going to have a huge collection aspect to it. The other thing that's been really cool that I have seen is people haven't really grasped the power, the psychological power of participation NFTs. Like they just think, oh, this is a thing that everyone gets, it's a party favor. But that's a very limited view of what a participation NFT actually can be. So a good example of a participation NFT used well would actually be the Tucos. So if you, way back in history, as far as Solana goes, there was this drop, the Llamas drop. And aside from all the details that go into that, one of the things that they did was they dropped this extra NFT, this Tuco NFT. It looked like a little cowboy, holding a shotgun and stuff. And they only dropped 400 of them across, I think it was like 4,000 wallets. They dropped 400. So it had like a 10% incidence rate. And at first you would think like, well, how is this a participation NFT? 90% of people didn't get it. Well, the answer is scarcity, right? At one point, the Tuco was selling for 72 SOL, way higher than the actual collection itself. And it's because people want what they can't have. You created a collection of haves and have-nots overnight, and collecting these things became super fun. And this idea evolved. If you look at the DGen Trash Pandas mint, they did a similar thing where they actually released 6 different types of rugs as a joke. Like, you're going to get rugged. They got airdropped 6 different types of rugs of different colors, and each of the different colors had different rarity levels. So only 20% of people got rugs at all, and of those 20%, some got rarer rugs, some got less rare rugs. And that created this sort of whole secondary market economy around these rugs. And so I think the potential for randomized participation NFT drops. Like if you come to mint, you sort of get to be part of the second game. Is really powerful, and I'm sort of waiting to see people really tap into it in an amazing way. Like there's a lot of things you can do with participation NFTs where they affect the main NFT in some cool way, like maybe it's like a gun that you can strap to your army character or something. And then finally, the last thing that we're just starting to see, I think the Penguins are doing it, is the ability to basically do costumes on your NFT. And I think a lot of NFT projects are going to, like, one of the things that sucks, you mint a common, like you mint a common NFT, not a mythic NFT, and you think to yourself, well, okay, I'm done, I have a common now. But one of the cool things that sort of sticking with the project and interacting with it over time gives the project the ability to do is say, for people that are really engaged and sort of interact with the project in certain ways, they can grant costumes to people. And you could actually turn your common into a weird kind of mythic, because if it's a common and it gets a really mythic costume that it can wear when it wants, and it looks really cool because of this, the outfit the common has, you've now sort of created a secondary, like a second level, a second rarity chart that allows people to sort of trade on those bases. And so people that stay and participate, they get something more than just a common NFT. They really are getting a ticket to an event that keeps happening, where they get to keep playing the lottery and keep trying to make their animal better or whatever. And what then makes this cool is that these are no longer static pieces of art. They're actually evolving players. It's more of a game. And when you buy one from someone, you're actually buying the complete history, that character went through. A very different approach to what we currently have today.
Yeah, and we saw that because a lot of us at Unfold are on the Dronies team. And just to be clear, Unfold and Dronies is the same team. We are an in-house design agency. A lot of us have pesky penguins, and we got really lucky and were able to mint those off the bat just because we thought it was a fun collection, and then turned out to be such an awesome project. And yeah, what they did was they had COVID masks, and they were, the least popular item in the collection, because I don't think a lot of us want to be reminded of COVID and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so they really were able to flip the script and go, cool, these characters like go into battle against, I think it's Gorgomon, and that's their like bad penguin wizard in the story lore. And so they all came out, and next thing you know, they're like, they've got facial scars and all these cool things. So it went from being this like, I don't really like how it looks with the mask, to you have the option, you could keep the mask, or you had the option to put them into combat, and next thing you know, you've got this really cool looking and very unique item now that you said is kind of more of a mythic or legendary kind of quality. Sorry, my screen randomly changed resolution again. Make sure everybody can hear, and I'll just move us around a little. I don't know what's up. But yeah, it was just a really, really interesting mechanic that was going on there.
Yeah, I think it's like what this reminds me of. This period reminds me of like the late '80s, when the video games weren't quite there yet, and people were using D&D character sheets to do more complex gaming. Like it was all on paper, but like we're in this weird phase where no one's quite figured out how to use the blockchain as an accounting ledger for games yet. People are experimenting with it, and some of the early experiments are all mini games, essentially little quick things that you can do, and you sort of have this character sheet, and the character sheet's the NFT, and the experience that you have, whether it's going to a website or something, it's sort of this one-off like character building experience, because it's not unified yet. I think it's like early. It just shows you how early days it is. I think in 10 years this will all look very antiquated, but it, like, you should be excited to hold an NFT that goes through these things, because like we were talking about earlier, it's provenance on this anything can be replicated in the real world now, but on this chain, for sure that this NFT you're holding is the same one from 10 years later, right? And all the history it goes through, it's going to be special in a way that some NFT you mint 10 years from now will not be. And so we're all very early in that respect.
Yeah. And apologies, I don't know why my computer is changing resolutions with me on the fly,
It's
but
the
I think I got
birds.
it fixed. Dronies
Yeah.
are just, sabotage is a real thing here.
Yeah.
It's a great cop out of technical difficulties at all times.
Yeah.
They're on to us.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, let me pull up our question sheet again. Let's see. I know one question we have here is like, how do you guys see the Solana NFT community being able to grow as big as, say, Ethereum NFT or whatnot? And just to interject in there first too, I mean, there was a really cool tweet. I think Dave might have it saved somewhere where, the amount of activity that we're seeing on Solana marketplaces like Magic Eden and whatnot is starting to just like, in the amount of time that those marketplaces have been open, we're seeing so much more activity than we are on other networks. So it's really interesting. I think just the adoption of it, and again, ease of use and lower barrier to entry is bringing people in. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts there?
Yeah, how do we measure activity is like a real question, right? The global market cap of Ethereum NFTs is definitely higher than the market cap of Solana NFTs. But in terms of the activity that's taking place, in terms of the number that are getting minted, in terms of developer activity, it's kind of an interesting comparison because the NFT world on pretty much every EVM chain is the same as the original Ethereum NFT spec. And there's a lot of things missing from that. And that's, no one knew how this marketplace was going to evolve into the future, but like royalties are hard coded into NFTs on Solana. So that means that like an artist can have self-executing royalties. Royalties on all the EVM chains, they're just gentlemen's agreements between the marketplaces. And so if you do there also isn't this concept of a decentralized marketplace for NFTs. That's something that does exist on Solana. So the Metaplex contract actually allows anyone to run an auction on chain, which is really cool and exciting. There's the Auction House, which is coming soon too, which Jordan can talk a little bit about. I think that's going to be like a really good thing to keep the NFT space sort of free and open and without any sort of like centralizing market forces. That's one of the biggest things that like the architecture of Solana and like the way that the NFTs have been developed and deployed seem to really support like the best of both worlds, right? You can have that centralized access of, a centralized marketplace where you have one clearinghouse for listing that there's lots of content on, but then artists can still build their own portals for their specific content in their NFTs. So I think you're going to see a lot of like ancillary product innovation, like innovation around how NFTs are used. Mm-hmm. And then also obviously a ton of different work, like we were talking about before about the recipe contract and the combination stuff, which is actual like NFT proper innovation.
Yeah.
Jordan, I'm sure you got some other thoughts on this too.
Just blanked out for a second.
Or he doesn't.
I was thinking about something else. Yeah, I would say that the economics makes it inevitable that the Solana NFT ecosystem will be the biggest ecosystem on the planet. Like the biggest danger that we have to a multi-chain world right now is that someone who's getting into crypto uses Solana first. That's it. Like if someone uses Solana before they use any other blockchain, they're not going to use any other blockchain. That's the problem. And because of that, that's why I believe the NFT ecosystem will inevitably be larger here, because it's just cheaper, faster, better, right? Like I'll give you right now, the Ethereum artwork is amazing, right? Like the NFT ecosystem is vibrant, but it has a big problem. And the big problem is like nobody who's new to crypto wants to pay $100 just to mint a $50 NFT, mm-hmm. right? And if they do that first, if they use Ethereum for a few months,
to be fair, no one wants to spend $100 to mint a $50 NFT.
Yeah,
I mean, people still seem to want to do it because they're doing it.
Some are. I mean, I haven't touched Ethereum after was it the Doodles drop? Like our whole team got in there. We were the first 200 to mint, and it took over 27 minutes to try to confirm those transactions. The gas was absolutely out of the world, and we all got frustrated because we're like, we were here, we were the first ones in line. It took too long. It didn't go through. We all missed out. Like, I'm a little bitter about it. Nothing with that project. Just I don't want to touch it anymore.
Yeah, but it's still going. Like people are still doing stuff on Ethereum, and I think if you start in Ethereum and you sort of build up your collection of NFTs in Ethereum, you have a natural sunk cost fallacy where you're thinking, I'm gonna make this work, right? And if someone goes there first, I think you have a cross chain world, right? Like they'll go into Ethereum, they may try Solana, but they'll end up with a collection of both, and they'll use both. The big problem is if someone never does that. If someone goes to Solana first, they're screwed. They're going to be spoiled for life. And so like I think this is a problem really for 2021 and 2022. I suspect like in the medium term, both chains are going to be fine, and there's going to be like a Android Apple dichotomy thing going on. But for right now, like I think the Solana ecosystem is way smaller than it should be, and the only thing that's keeping it that small is just it takes time to expand exponentially.
Yeah,
even exponential expansion takes time.
Well,
Jordan, what year do you
months.
think it currently is?
2021, but I think 2022 is going to. I mean, like I think it's a 2021.
It's a problem for the next 14 days.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I mean, I will also say, with the not financial advice, but and I always say this, I don't understand the tokenomics well enough to say, hey, what is a reasonable growth pattern or whatnot, but where I'm personally really bullish on Solana, and I mean I have small amounts, but daily buys set up just to dollar cost average into that ecosystem, is that I think we're just at the starting point of seeing that next boom, where same way we saw with Ethereum, where that price of the token went up as the rise in popularity of NFTs came into play. And we're seeing that here in this space. And that's where when you buy into a Solana NFT, you're kind of investing twofold, in that you're investing in the hopeful growth and increase in the NFT itself, whether that's something that you're gaining utility or access to and you may never want it to go away and you just hold it, or maybe you buy a couple and you do sell a few, but you're also holding something that is tied to the value of that network's token, in this case Solana. So for those of us that bought in, whether it was at cents, $4, $40, 100, 150, we're on a little pullback right now, which it could go up, it could go down. Maybe it's time to grab a little bit more, but there's a big upside in a couple of ways potentially with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we literally cannot comment.
Yeah, I know you can't say anything on that. Yeah. I can say whatever I want. So yeah. I'm bullish. I'm excited. Not financial advice. Yeah. That's just my own personal opinion.
The thing I will say is that like it's all so early, right? Solana's incredibly early. Ethereum's incredibly early. Everything in this space is like, people are like, oh, it's like the start of the Web 2 revolution. It's like, I think we barely have dial-up modems in most people's houses at this point. Like everyone I talk to always overestimates how mature any of these ecosystems are, because they live in them and they work in them and they've seen them grow so much over the last year or two. But like, it's still tiny. This is still like, this is the infant stage, right? We're not even walking on our own yet. So, whatever systems you believe in for the future, I think we've cemented this idea that like blockchain's not going away. This isn't a fad. This isn't something that's gonna, blow over. This is going to be a very important technological construct for the next few decades.
Yeah.
Do with that what you will.
Yeah. So since I know you guys didn't want us to prep you with any questions, I'm going to throw one that is harder, and I know is something that you guys have been working on this week, and a lot of it is just FUD and, just kind of misinformation of things. But question here is, as the NFT world continues to grow and the Solana network becomes bigger and bigger part of it, are there any risks that the network might degrade or, result in changes in amount of transactions, active users? What are you guys doing to kind of mitigate some of those risks? And I know that's something that's been chatted about a lot this week.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, there's two different components here, right? There are legitimate technical challenges involved in growing and scaling any network to a global level. And then there's this erosion of the we're all going to make it mindset on Twitter that reduces everything to zero sum, where if your coin is going up, it means someone else's must be going down, right? And this sort of this model that I think is like one of the worst things about like blockchain culture is how tribal and toxic it becomes. in a level that's very disingenuous, right? There are legitimate criticisms for every system architecture design that you can level. There's tons against Solana. There's tons against Ethereum. There's tons against fill in the blank chain.
Yeah.
But I think, especially my vantage point on the comm side and more on the public side is that the amount of just sort of false information is accelerating. Look, the positive spin on that is like, this means people are starting to take Solana seriously and starting to look at the potential and starting to, question what that means for maybe areas they've been building in. But there are also like legitimate network issues going on, right? That the code base is still growing, is still maturing. Some of the network slowdowns that occurred yesterday were the result of, bots and IDOs. And the technical thing going on there is that the transaction metering wasn't properly accounting for how complicated these transactions were to process. That's a system that, improvements are being made by the global team of developers on, and, things keep moving, progress keeps going. But the ability for Solana to scale to a global level over sort of, the short to medium term, it's really not in question, right? The fundamentals of the network design allow it to scale astronomically, right? We have a steady state of transactions now, about 3,000 to 4,000 per second on the network. The capacity is benchmarked at about 65,000 transactions per second. That will increase as just computational hardware increases around the world. That's kind of one of the geniuses of the Solana network architecture is, I know I use the A word, I'm sorry, Jordan. But as AMD, NVIDIA, ARM, TSMC, they're pouring billions of dollars a year into making chips faster and making computational hardware better and better and better. And all of those improvements, the Solana network gets to just drift off of, right? You buy a $500 processor, and you buy a $500 processor 2 years later, and it's 2 to 3 times faster. And that means the network will organically get faster, even if the majority of the code development stops on it, just by the fact that the hardware is getting faster every year. And by delivering hardware-based scaling, it's predictable, right? Software innovations are great, but if any of you were around from the single core to multi-core CPU transition, it took video game designers almost a decade to really figure out how to program on multi-core processors. That was the death of the PlayStation 3, is it had a weird architecture with 8 cores, and no one could figure out how to program games for it. So no one ever took real advantage of what that system architecture could do. So by relying on sort of breakthrough innovations in software like sharding, which requires a new programming paradigm for developers, or any of these other things, you're taking moonshot bets on technology that could work or it could not work. And the beauty of the Solana architecture is there's predictable scaling delivered by hardware improvements. And then you can always layer on software innovations on top of that, right? Like zero knowledge payments are a feature that just got released by some developers yesterday on Solana. So you can now do a confidential payment system. And there's lots of stuff like that coming. There's no reason you can't do rollups on Solana if that ends up being a direction that ends up giving more, power to the network or something like that. But you have that dependable scaling delivered by hardware.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jordan's just nodding. Anything else?
I have nothing to add. That was great.
So I know one of the questions that the folks were having, and maybe you can give us the TLDR version, because we can also say, hey, go check out the recording from yesterday's office hours. But, aside from some security improvements, how does Candy Machine 2.0 differ from Candy Machine 1.0?
Yeah, so the two big, I guess I put this in headlines, are CAPTCHA is built into the contract if you want it, and also pseudo random selection of NFTs from the deck of NFTs, as opposed to just moving in a straight line through the list one at a time. So between those two things, it pretty much makes botting not impossible, but significantly less economically beneficial to do. Right, because in order to beat the pseudo randomness algorithm that we're using, which is not much of an algorithm, we're just using the most recent block hash, you have to be able to reorder transactions in the block, and you can only do that if you put millions into staking a validator, and that validator happens to get elected leader of the group of validators when the transaction is being validated. So if your bot can do that, if you're willing to put up that kind of money, sure, okay, good job. You've managed to beat the randomness. But if CAPTCHA is still on, you still have to do a CAPTCHA every single time. You have to pay someone somewhere to do a CAPTCHA every single time you want to mint, and then you can reorder the transactions and choose essentially have better choice of the items you want. But it's such an uneconomical thing to do now. You have to have a fleet of humans completing CAPTCHA. You have to have this validator with millions staked. We've just made it extremely not worth it to build a bot with Candy Machine V2.
Yeah, that's awesome, and a part of why we wanted to wait on that, and I know it just got released, and we're going to give it a little time and whatnot. We'll do our drop here in January, but our collection, like we're nearing up towards 100 custom, very unique dronies, and we want to make sure that has equal opportunity and chance for people, and that was really important. And I love the randomization factor as well. That's an awesome addition because especially as we look where and we're being completely open and transparent about this stuff, like everybody on our team is going to get one mint. That doesn't mean that any of us are going to be hooked up with like the best and craziest, most rare ones. It's just going to be the same random chance that everybody else has, and that truly becomes available by having that randomization. Otherwise, in theory, if we knew that our team was going to get, let's say we've got about 30 members on our team, each person gets one. Well, we know as long as we place one of those random ones in the first 30, that at least one person would be guaranteed that or whatnot. So now it is pure open chance to everybody. It's equal opportunity for everyone. And so that randomization is really cool. And it's really important for us to have that transparency and I'm going to say like moral honesty within our project, because I know, and I'm not going to name any projects, but there's been some, scandals and concerns of other projects that somehow magically people have gotten the best of the best in the collection. And you just go, and we don't want to have that. We don't want to have anybody that can even claim that we did anything like that. So really, really important to us. And I think that's a really cool and awesome mechanic that has been added.
Yep.
All right. And sorry, Moss dropped. So let me change that a little bit. Let's see. Another question here. So this is kind of a question for both of our teams here, but I'm going to ask it more around like, what are the capabilities here, Jordan? So will we be revealing the artwork as soon as the minting is live, or will we be doing a reveal after everything has been minted? Maybe there's a waiting period. And they mentioned that they haven't seen projects do that.
So one of the things that we did build in, we built, I call it the Nyan Heroes system, where you do the reveal after. I hate that design because it's essentially just as much trust as me saying, hey, send me 2 sold of this wallet over here. I promise I will send you an NFT later. I don't like that system. We have built it into the Candy Machine V2. You can use it, but we primarily want it to be used for 1 million NFT drops, like NFT drops that are so large that storing all the NFTs on all the NFT URLs on chain in the Candy Machine is just not economical to do. In which case, you just drop a mystery box on the people, and at some periodic interval, run a script that updates them. And you can put a hash on chain that is the hash condensed version of your randomized list, so that people can verify that the order that you said you were going to have at the beginning was not changed, partway through. Because you put the hash up there day 1, and then you're, changing people's NFTs all the way through up to day 10. And then at day 10, when everyone's bought their NFTs, you release the ordering, and people can verify that the ordering matches what was on chain, by hashing it. Still not a great system, because you can still rug people. You can just drop a mystery box and, never change it, but at least it allows you to do million NFT drops. So that's there. But the base Candy Machine system, there is none of that. You mint the NFT, that's the NFT you get. There's no reveal. It's just there. There's no way for the team to rug you after that. Well, I mean, technically there is. If they wanted to, they could, update the image to be a brick, because they have update authority, but they'd have to write a script to do that, right? Like the initial NFT you get, it works.
Yeah. And I think also, on that, so a lot of people ask, like, what is Candy Machine? And to say kind of it's exactly what it sounds like. If you were to go to an arcade and go into a candy machine, you put in a token, you see all the bubble gum or the toys or whatnot, but you don't know what's at the bottom, and so you don't know what's going to come out. So that's the idea here, is that you're putting your token in, or in this case, you're putting your soul into a mint. You're kind of like cranking that lever, and out comes an NFT, but you don't know what it is going to be. And so that's kind of the playful naming and mechanic here that is being used.
And it's true to life. If you guys have ever used a candy machine, you'll notice that you cannot simultaneously lose your quarter and not get a piece of candy. The whole thing is mechanically built so that if you turn the thing all the way, the hatch must open. And if there's candy in the machine, something will come out due to gravity. So the whole thing is set up in such a way to guarantee that if you lose your money, you get something. Same is true with candy machine. It's not possible for it to take your money and not give you something.
I feel like that guy on TikTok that does the like things I learned in my 30s needs to do that. I never knew that was an actual mechanic of candy machines.
Oh yeah. I mean, assuming there's candy in it. That's also why they're all round. If you've ever wondered why everything in a candy machine is round, can't lodge corners against each other.
Yeah. Just slides on down and out. Yeah. So there's a bunch of other features in this thing. The new one, like whitelisting, pre-sales, the ability to turn it off when it sells a certain amount, give discounts to people, like all that's in there. But the main things are the randomization or pseudo randomization, that is, and the CAPTCHA. That is, you can either do it once per wallet or every single mint, or not at all. Your choice.
Yeah, and I think something on that with the CAPTCHA that's really interesting. This is where, again, we're going to do a really awesome job on the Droney side of communicating and letting people know what to experience, because, and I'm going to blank on it, and if somebody, and it's just because my brain is doing 1,000 things right now, it was Mini Royale, I think was the recent drop with the NFT gaming. That was one I tried to get. It was on Magic Eden. And the fact that it had a CAPTCHA really threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. And it slowed me down, and I missed out on the mint because of that. Just because of that, like, almost momentary adrenaline rush and panic. So just if you're running a project or what, let people know that that's going to be something that is going to be there, and expect it and kind of be prepared for that a little bit. Because, if you don't want to miss out on something, you got to be like locked and loaded and ready to go. So just something to think about.
Awesome.
I don't actually know if Magic Eden's CAPTCHA.
All good, man. Austin, thank you for all the time and all the information today. And we're going to keep going, by the way. So even when Jordan hops off, our team's going to keep going. We'll keep chatting about stuff. So make sure you stick around. We got more sneak peeks, walkthroughs, tutorials, all the things.
Yep. So CAPTCHA. It's run by Civic, by the way. Let
me start streaming again. We should be live as soon as this goes up. So just heads up.
There you go. I think we're out.
All right. Yep. Sorry, everybody. I have not had computer problems in a while. Then today it's all of them. So we'll keep going here. Jordan had to drop off too, but we're going to keep going through questions. We're going to talk about some more stuff with Solana. Like I said, we'll do a mint here on the stream here in a couple of minutes, and we'll go through and answer some more questions, both about Solana and project-specific stuff. And thank you for bearing with us with some of the technical difficulties today. We stream often. This isn't usually a problem. But I cannot click on my desktop, which is a little bit of a problem.
Amazing.
Let me try to close anything that just isn't needed and see if something is wigging us out. It might
have to set off an EMP to get those dronies out of here.
Yeah.
So still having technical difficulties, but we're back.
Yeah. It's really, really hard when I can't get to my windows. Let me see. Okay. If I tab into them, I can get them back up and running. So let's go through a couple more questions. So first of all, I know a lot of people are asking, like, how do I get on the pre-sale list? How do I get on early bird? Jump on over to Discord, type in !early bird in the channel, and it'll give you some more information. But basically, we're looking for folks that are going to be active and engaged members of our community. We're not looking to rush in and just, the first X amount of people that flock to Discord or join us on Twitter and then disappear for the lifetime of the project. We want to have that active engagement. So we are looking for folks that we see and are a part of it and hanging out with us. And those are the folks that are going to get rewarded. We're also doing stuff like meme contests. And last week we gave some early bird spots on our streams and some Twitter spaces. We did some recommendations for I don't know what you're laughing at because I can't follow enough things.
Because everybody's speaking early bird in chat.
Oh, it just 100 of those went off. Yeah, everybody sees that command when you do it. So only one person needs to do it and everyone else can just read it. So, you know, thank goodness we have slow mode on. Yeah, just come hang out with us and be a part of things. And yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's go through a couple of questions and then we'll get some more sneak peeks. And really, guys, everybody has seen it. We don't need to keep typing the same command. Let me go through. All right. So a couple other questions. Let's go down to some of the Joni specific ones. Why did we choose Solana Network and what advantages it has in comparison with other networks? So a couple of big things. I mean, one, in terms of how we got connected with Solana. Solana is a past client of ours. Again, we're Unfold. We're a design agency. We've done some work and helped them out with some branding, marketing, web stuff before. And so, you know, we just showed the work to, I shouldn't even say we didn't even approach it like that. I hit up Raj and was like, hey, we just want to chat with somebody from your team. Is there someone that can tell us a little bit more about the advantages of Solana for NFTs versus, say, Ethereum? And, you know, they wanted to see the artwork. And next thing we know, we were chatting about how we could work together on this project. So some of the big things that we really liked, as Jordan mentioned, there's a lot of cool mechanics that can be done with the drop, future updates and things like that. I'm just going to tease it like that. As well as network speed, the cost. I mean, the fact that there's basically no gas, the environmental impact and just better efficiency there versus other networks is really something that we were super excited about. And another big thing was just the community, and in large part the community of developers, just people that are actively working to do things for the betterment of the entire community. We felt like that was something that we distinctively saw different than other networks. We didn't see that same kind of, we're all going to make it, let's do things together, let's build and help each other out, the same on other networks. So that was something that we really liked as well. And, you know, really excited about that. Getting to work with Solana has been really cool because we're getting, I mean, direct conversation and consulting and, you know, help with decision making of like, hey, what are the best things to do? We meet with them twice a week. So everything that we can find out about, hey, what went well or didn't go well with other projects and drops and how should we modify things. Jordan here is going to be managing our drop. So I'm really excited about having the person that built the whole network and process for Solana NFTs managing and overseeing our drop to ensure that it's going to go smoothly and be a great experience for everybody. We get to use their you know, server resources and things like that to make sure that, you know, everything is going to be really, really smooth. And then another big one that, you know, we talk about a lot is on the legal side. We get to work with their legal team and just make sure that everything we're doing is on the up and up. You know, something that I've seen a ton in chat and in a lot of the questions, you know, it gets brought up a lot, as it should, is utility and roadmap. And what do we want to do? Are we going to have staking mechanics? Is there a royalty and things like that? And that's where the answer is not yet, you know, in terms of some of those mechanics. And the reason being is that there's a lot of concern and speculation about SEC compliance issues and is something going to be deemed a security based on some of those things that we do? And the answer is yeah. If we were to do a holder royalty where you gain, you know, X amount of SOL per day or per month for holding that NFT, it's a security now. And so that could very much hinder and harm the success of the project long term. We've already been talking with a lot of the major marketplaces, and I posted a screenshot. I asked them for permission. I'm not going to disclose any private conversations, but they said, you know, we could post this, and it was them stating, if you do the royalties or any of those utilities, we won't list you on the marketplace, because they know that that's going to be a problem and that could be a hindrance to to them that they would have to file and handle all kinds of different compliance things. So are we against it? Do we not like those utilities? No, not at all. It's really cool. And personally, I think we'd be for that. But we don't want to do anything that could harm the project and get us taken off of marketplaces. My computer's changing again. Why is it changing resolutions in the middle of the stream? I'm not even touching my computer. Let's pull this back up. I'll try to fix this. But yeah, just we don't want to risk any of those things and have a problem. So that might be stuff that later gets introduced, and we will have that flexibility. But until we can do that and not have a problem, that's stuff that we want to stay away from and try to prevent those types of issues. So that's important to us. And sorry, let me pull this back up, make sure that this is working again. Okay. It's really frustrating as I try to talk and fix OBS at the same time. But yeah, that's stuff that, again, we're going to keep revisiting, and we'll stay apprised of. It's going to switch on me again. We'll keep, posted on that kind of stuff and see what the right way to handle those things are. But until we know we can do it safely and whatnot, we want to stay away from that. So anything that is staking or royalty related is stuff that we want to be careful of. But let's talk about what are some of the things that we are actively looking into and interested in terms of utility and mechanics. So one thing to know about us and our team is that we are a team. We're a design agency. If you want to check us out, you can find us on Dribbble with 3 Bs, dribbble.com/unfold. Or you can go to you can go to unfold.co and see some of our work. But we do branding, marketing, web, product, illustration work. And we've done some work for some really awesome companies, in particular in the Web3 space. We've worked with Solana, Facebook, Ripple, Trust Token, Future Swap, Suite, a ton of other companies. We've also worked with companies like Samsung, GoFundMe, Quibi, Peacock, a lot of folks. Like, we know what we're doing, and we're a good team. We have a good reputation. That's why we're doxxed. We want people to have confidence in us. And I say all that not to sound braggy or any ego, that's just to instill confidence in you guys that we know what we're doing. And so there is very little that we can't do from a talent or capability standpoint. So a lot of it we're leading to be more community driven and see what it is that people want. And we'll, make our own decisions as well to see what's going to be best for the brand and the project in its lifetime. But do we want to see a card game? Do we want to see a board game, a mobile app, a desktop app? Do we want to do something in the metaverse? And yeah, we're looking into all those things. We're looking into what would it cost to buy a plot of land? What would the development of that look like? What would that experience be? As I change resolutions again, I greatly apologize for whatever is happening today. I feel like I'm being trolled.
It's journeys, man.
It
is don't want us to succeed.
Really annoying.
They don't want the truth to be out.
Yeah. It's so annoying. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we want to figure out and look into. And where we also have to ask those types of questions is, what would that take to build space in the metaverse? Do we have enough people that have VR capability that could enjoy that kind of experience? Or are we designing it for 500 members of our community and 9,500 people can't participate in that? So, that's why we are intentionally leaving things a little bit more open-ended and flexible. However, we want to instill some confidence and trust that we have a plan, that we know what we're doing, that we can build these different things. And so part of that is, yes, our team and our track record, but we are actively working on starting out concepts and designs and ideas for these different things. So that way we can go and showcase to our community and go, hey, here's kind of our pitch for what a card game would be or what a board game would be. Dave and I and Moss have been talking about and working a lot on, we think that the storyline of this, because I'll backtrack in a minute and explain to people what Dronies is. I forget after several conversations to do that every time. But we think it would make an awesome like animated series. And, again, we've written the story to feel like a TV show. It could very much be a TV show. And so there's a lot of different things that, could come to life with the possibility of how we're building this and what could be created. So, a lot of cool things there. On that note, what is Dronies, and what is the story of it? So basically our characters, and you can follow along with them in the Dossier channel in Discord, and kind of watch this in like a live theater feeling, play aspect, has noticed that, it feels like he's being watched by these birds around him, and they're acting and behaving really, really oddly. And that through that, he's able to capture one of these and realize that this is actually a surveillance drone. And so we're going to start to uncover this mystery that someone, something, some group has been actively replacing the Earth's population of birds with these surveillance drones. And we need to discover the why, who is behind it, where is the signal going, what is their purpose, and that's very much kicking off with the launch. And where I would say we are different than other projects is that there is this true continued storyline. Like, we've already written where it is, what are the possibilities based on a breadcrumb that the community is going to find first in the collection. How does that change, where the story goes. So essentially, if somebody finds, let's call it thing A before thing B, the story actually changes direction, and certain things will get introduced before something else. So it's really fun how we built that. And that's allowing us to keep an active and engaged community, a continued storyline, additional series within the Dronies universe as something that will continue on versus doing a drop and then there isn't much else beyond building out, roadmap items and promises and kind of keeping hype of things. Like the same way that everyone is enjoying seeing this unpack and discover the storyline, this is just the beginning. I mean, we've given you about this much of the story, and it's going to unlock and be something that we're going to see afterwards. So really, really fun in that regard. Let me find a question for Dave or Moss here, because I've been talking too much.
No, you can continue. That's fine.
I don't want to. Let's see. We had some hints on what's to come with the Lilu and Naruto-inspired Dronies and some of these custom. Maybe Dave, how many of those that are kind of celebrating some of our favorite things in pop culture might we expect in the collection?
Like probably most of it. How many currently do we have?
I think we're around 60 to 75. I think we're climbing towards that, and we've got a good bit of time now before the drop to
70.
continue.
We currently have 70 Dronies that are customs. All of them are based on a huge variety of different I'd say mediums and popular culture references. You've seen some of them. We've teased like what did we tease? I'm trying to remember. We teased Turtle Ninja, right?
Yep.
We teased.
Here, let me actually pull that up for us and do a share, because it apparently crashed my whole thing. It's really annoying. I have to like Alt Tab to get to actively use any of the items. All right.
Right.
So, of course, it's not picking up Figma. Here we go. Okay. Let me just
It's black screen.
yeah, I'm just
Okay.
resizing a little bit here. All right, so I know we've shared some of this work in some of the past streams, our early one, and I'm going to encourage you to go take a look there. And let me pull chat on my other window so I can read that a little as I go. So yeah, I mean, a lot of fun stuff that we've been building here. And just to show, this is honestly maybe 1% of our working file. We've had to actually branch out a couple of times because the files have just gotten too heavy to work in. But going through this process, kind of building out some of the stylescapes that we wanted to utilize, getting some kind of brand examples and feels. We wanted something that we loved, like Star Wars does a great job of creating, consistency where everything within the universe, the brands feel fairly cohesive and go together, even though they're all kinds of different factions and things like that. And just to kind of show some of the experimentation that we went through. We started off with this like super ambitious, let's build a bunch of different head types, and we quickly realized that would be an absolute nightmare because we'd have to create like Solana shades for the eagle and then a different set of Solana shades for the toucan or these different birds, and have them still classified as the same item. And it was a huge headache. And where we shifted was I think over here, but kind of transitioning to where we found that we could use one consistent head shape, and through more variance in the beaks itself, it actually worked out a lot better than we expected to change that. So that allowed us to have the same hat and glasses and things. And of course there's DNPs, but it just makes it a lot easier to have a more cohesive set along the way. And I'm going to skim through some of these real quick. We can touch on, these are some real generated droney images. These are not anything that we custom created or whatnot, but just to showcase a little bit of some of the variations that you can see. And this is actually pretty old. So, there's been a lot of updates since we did this stream, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. But we can see some of that artwork and how that's been put together. So really cool. And then to go through, I'll share a couple of the customs that, we've been working on. This was actually one of our earliest sketches that I think maybe Bo or Vic had worked on. And just so kind of seeing this come to life over here on the side, it's super fun to see.
Yeah, it's insane transition and like difference in style, like the way we transition. Like it's still both are vectors, but the right one looks so
almost
sick
3D
because it's almost 3D. It feels like 3D. It's insane.
Yeah, and that's where this is really fun, because also like you might start to see more things pop into these little mini series within the collections. If we just did a little, oh, hi there, little buddy.
Oh, hello.
There's one other that's super cool. Oh, we don't have the other ones in here. There's a few more in that collection. But yeah, you'll start to see some of those. We've got some customs that we did for Dan Petty and Mark Hemion, who are awesome folks in the design community and also in the NFT space. So make sure you go check out their work and their projects. Mark is doing wave blocks, which is super cool. He's also does a lot of his fine art as NFTs, and Dan has got his surf series as well. So really, really cool. And go check those out. Here you can see some of the sketches that Eddie had worked on. So we've got, our Dwight, we've got like a Gundam feel here. We've got Marty from Back to the Future. We've got our Bob Ross. And so, you'll see a lot of these characters kind of come to life in that regard. A few that we have showcased already on the stream, and then I'm going to save the others for a little bit later in the stream today. We've got our Link character. We've got Lilu, which this one you can rewatch, but Courtney worked on this live on stream. So if you want to kind of see how these are built and what that process is like, go check that out. And it's just really cool to see all the work, the attention to detail, all the things that go into this. I'm a product designer, not an illustrator, so I get to geek out over this and go, I don't know how I could do that. And so it's really cool to see all the work that is done there. And yes, somebody was asking too, is there, exclusivity in the collection in terms of like, are some items rarer than others? Of course, there's going to be items that, have a 0.1% chance to get and are going to be super rare. And we've kind of scaled our whole collection. There's, I want to say, 212 different variants, Dave?
206. Wait, variants of what?
Different character traits.
Yeah, so 206 traits. We have 12 different categories for those traits.
Yeah, and then we do that through 21 different layers. So the way that these are built is literally like if you think of a Z-index file, and it's like one image is stacked on top of each other.
A lot of people don't know what Z-index means.
Okay,
Imagine if you have 20 sheets of paper, right? And we basically all smash them together, and that's how Joni comes up. We have certain layers that basically interact with each other. Let's say we have a head and it needs a back filling. Maybe it's like a top hat and it's a back layer that goes behind the hat. So we have all these layers in the system that help us basically link these things together. Maybe we need we have a trait, I'm gonna tease it. We have a ballistic shield that's in front of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In front of a Joni. But we need it to go below the wing, but it needs to be in front of us. So like the shadow from the head doesn't overlay it. So we have different like layers in place to kind of prevent that shadow overshadowing basically on different parts of the layers. And so it all looks cohesive basically. So
yeah. And I'm going to keep going with a couple more questions, and Moss, if you can't, just jump in at any time with like, hey, here's a question I see in chat or in Discord that we should answer on the fly. And then we'll get into alignment too.
Hold up. What about the code word? Yes.
I actually wanted to butt in here really quick to give out the code word.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys shoot me the code word Phantom, I will get you on the early bird list.
Yeah, so send Moss in the admin panel in Discord that code word, and make sure your DMs are turned on for that. You might have to go up to privacy settings and make sure that is on so that you can message her. As a good security feature, we typically recommend that you turn that off to avoid spammers, but you need to turn it on temporarily to send us a message. And don't put it in the main chat.
It has to be in Discord. And if you could, in your message, send me your Sol wallet address, that would be great. Makes it a lot faster to get you added to the list. It does take a little bit of time, so please be patient. But yeah, that code word again was Phantom.
Yep. All right. All good. Someone's like just posted in the chat. Cool. Well, let's keep going here with a couple other questions that we've got. Oh my goodness, folks, not in the main chat. All right, you know what? We're going to change the code word. It's no longer Phantom. So if you can't play nice, then let's change it. Let's do... what else are we going to show? Hang on, let me look at the file real quick. Let's do Raj, R-A-J. And if you post it again, I'm going to kick you out of Discord. Let's do it that way. Don't ruin it for people. Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going then. A couple other questions.
Just to repeat, hold on. Just to repeat so people understand. Go to our Discord with the code word. What's the code word?
It is Raj, R-A-J.
Raj, R-A-J. So you go to that. You don't post it in the main chat. You, on the right side, there should be a panel that says members and basically lists admins. There's Moss right there. You click on her. There's a message window down below. And you put the Raj code in there. And then you send us your Phantom wallet. Just so we're super clear.
Yeah.
Send it to MOSS, Moss. She's our community manager. You can see it over there, the right screen. Let me screenshot it.
Yeah.
So I'll put it.
So there's two rules here. There's two rules. One, send it. You have 10 minutes to send it. After 10 minutes, that code word is no longer valid. 2, if you post it in chat and you're on the early bird list, I'm going to take you off the early bird list. So let everybody have fun. Let's move on, get back into some questions, and yeah, we'll keep going here. So somebody posted a graphic. That's who to send it to. So let's keep going here. Let's see. Well, I'm going to answer this one just for transparency purposes. Someone had asked, from what I've seen on the Discord server, a lot of attention was generated through the Noah Kagan YouTube video, where the Jpeg Lord mentioned dronies. What is the relationship between the Unfold team and Jpeg Lord, if any? We don't do any paid promos or shills. We're staying away from that stuff. For the folks that are messaging us, you know, in our DMs and stuff, like, hey, I'll promote you, and we don't do that. Everything here is going to be organic. So we, you know, everything is fun surprises and whatnot. There are folks, and I mentioned this the other day, where, you know, that video really did help us pop off and get a lot of community. And so we did give them a mint as a thank you for it. But we don't do the paid promo route or anything like that. We did also, after that video had gone out, I did get in touch with Noah, and we recorded a podcast with them. But, you know, we want to keep things on the up and up, and yeah. So let's see some other questions here. Us on the roadmap, you guys mentioned about creating games or metaverse land, you know, basically involving the community for that. You know, and what about the budget, development, et cetera? Let's say if the community had most voted for something. Okay, so, you know, that's a great question, and that's where, you know, especially as we get closer to the drop, we are going to, you know, have a lot more serious conversation about that, what the mint price will be. You know, again, as we've got time, you know, we don't know what the price of Sol is going to be. So, you know, this isn't the number, but in theory, let's just say that, you know, if we announced that the price was, I'm making this up, 1 today, well, 1 Solana could be $1,000 a month from now. We have no idea. And so we don't want to have something where that then prices things out. At the same time, it could be really low and it prices things down. As we also figure out what our roadmap is specifically going to be, especially over the next, you know, about 30 days, we have to think of it like a business and figure out, what do we need in order to build things that the community wants? So in that regard, let's say we want to build space in the metaverse. And I'm making up numbers here, but it might cost $100,000 to buy a plot of land. It might cost $250,000, $500,000 to develop and create a space and an experience and a hangout and whatnot. And so, you know, we have to make sure that we price the drop accordingly to where we can actually deliver on the things that we're talking about on our roadmap. To build out probably a card game would be significantly easier and less costly, and we wouldn't require the same, you know, essentially funding in order to do that. And that's where, again, just being honest and transparent, we're not here for a cash grab. We want to turn this into a really cool IP and something that, you know, is going to live on and is going to be successful. And so we're going to have to look at it and figure out, how much do we need to raise in order to actually build it? If a Kickstarter needed $2 million to build something and they only got $250,000, well, nobody's going to get the reward that was promised to them. So we want to make sure that when that time comes, we're paying attention to where the market is at, what is the thing that we're going to build, and you know, what do we need to do that? So that way, again, we can deliver on our promise and execute. We have a great reputation in our industry and with our clients that when we build something and we say it's going to get done, it's going to get done. It's going to be built on time. And that's no different for this project. We have a full team and department dedicated to dronies. We've got 3 full-time illustrators. Dave is our project director. Moss is our community manager. I'm one of the partners here at Unfold. This is kind of my baby, so I'm heavily involved in this. And our brand, web, and product teams all come in and get assigned when they are needed. And so we're treating ourselves like our own client, and we're making this, you know, the right way. We wouldn't put our reputations on the line here if it was something that, you know, could backfire or could hurt us and damage us. We want to take this super seriously, and we're going to build something really, really awesome. So, and no, you know, someone was asking, have we already claimed dronies? Again, we're going to get random ones in the collection. Some of us have either kind of created our own one of ones, you know, in this upcoming like marketing area that we like and enjoy, and you know, but we don't know what we're going to get in the collection. That's not preset or predetermined. That would be unfair and unjust. So that's not going to be the case. All right, so let's see what else we got. What platform? Solana. This is the Solana stream. We're going to do that. We'll talk about that here in just a minute, actually, and maybe let's take a little break from questions and let's do a mint. Okay. So I need to find, I think it's this window. Let me pull this up. Sorry, this is really hard being like kind of stuck on some of this. Okay. Okay, so let's start off with a couple of things. Again, Phantom is our preferred wallet here. I think we've got a little sneak here. Again, this is the custom honorary that we've built out for the Phantom team, and we'll send this to them shortly, just as a thank you for being awesome and the tool that we all like and use. And when we do, make sure you guys like go blow that post up and make sure that they see it and whatnot. But Phantom is what we like to use. It's a really easy plugin that you can just add to your browser. And if we come down to the bottom, looks like it works for Chrome, Brave, Firefox, and Edge. I'm personally a big Brave browser user, which I know they're doing some cool things upcoming with Solana, so I recommend you check them out. And simply put, I'm not going to add it because it's already been added to mine, but just click add to Chrome or add to Brave, Edge, whatever it is that you're using. And it'll walk you through a little bit of process. I'm doing this from memory, so somebody correct me if I get it wrong. But in short, it's going to give you, I think it's a 12 or 24 word passphrase or seed phrase. And that's your way to recover your wallet. You want to write this down, store it in a very safe location. Some people even split it up and put it in multiple locations. But the precise spelling of the words, the order of them is all vital that you get correct. So store them in a very safe place. Never, ever, ever, ever give it out to anybody. That is a mistake that you will make once and never do again because you're going to lose everything that is stored in that wallet. So never, ever do that. We will never ask you for your seed phrase. We will never ask you for your password. Nothing. The only thing that we're going to ask for is a mint address, which is totally safe to share. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's going to show my password when I do it, but I am going to turn off for just a second and make sure that I'm logged in. Okay, great. So let me go back and I'll show y'all how this works. So
can I just hop in very quickly?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to go ahead and extend the entry time for 5 minutes because I see a lot of you are struggling to send a message. My DMs are open. If you're receiving an error message, you'll have to adjust your privacy settings.
Yeah, real quick to do that, go up here, go to privacy settings.
We can. Maybe we can.
Yeah, you should be seeing it.
Okay.
And then make sure that this is turned on. Allow direct messages from server members. All of our DMs are open. We keep them open so we can talk to you guys. But if it is turned off, we will not see that, and it will not allow you to message us. And then after you've talked to us and we got all the information, turn it back off is our recommendation, and go from there. So, yeah. So let's go back over here. So, sorry, I honestly need to reboot, but I'm not going to do that midstream. But you can just come over here and you can see when I click on this, it's going to showcase a wallet. You can have a plethora of wallets over here on the side. And I recommend that you do have multiples. And we're going to talk about that right now. And we're going to set up what's called a burner wallet. So a burner wallet, it sounds shady and nefarious. It is the farthest thing from that. It is actually something that is going to keep you safe. So that way you don't risk losing your money or your NFTs. We've only seen it a handful of times, but there are times where we have heard projects that when you go to mint that collection, I don't know if it's through something super shady or if it's just in rapid clicking the approval process that it'll say, hey, or you click it, to approve and you didn't recognize that it had a different message or language in there, but it can actually drain your entire wallet. So I've put just a little bit here in this one so we could see it, and I'm going to show everyone how this all works. But if I was this baller here and had my 17,000 in the account, that would really stink to lose that because of somebody pulling a rug. So we want to avoid that. So what you can do up here, and when we ask for your mint address, it's just you can copy this thing to the clipboard up top. But what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new wallet. I think I've already created one here that doesn't have anything in it. So, and then we can rename this wallet, which is it under this one? Yeah. So I can just call this my burner stream wallet. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to copy this address up at the top. I'm going to go back to, I think it was wallet 3 that had a little something. And I'm going to go to send. And let's take a quick look real quick, because I think I was looking on Magic Eden here. Our friends over at Grim Syndicate, go check them out. And let's just see what is live. So it looks like this project here, Girlfriends, I have no affiliation with this. This is not a promotion. This just happens to be minting live. I'm not saying this is a good or a bad project. I just want to showcase the process here. But we're going to click into this one. This is going to take us to this address. So I can see here that the mint price is 0.175 Sol. There's, a good amount of the collection here left. So what I want to do is now I want to go over to my wallet, and I want to move just enough for this mint. So just to be safe, sometimes there's a little extra fee or something associated with it. I'm going to send a hair more. So I'm going to click into this. I'm going to hit send. I'm going to paste my burner wallet address, and I'm going to put in 0.2 Sol. So it's about $30 that I'm going to send over based on the current price. And I'm going to hit next. And we can see here, network fee, 0.00078 cents. Like, it's nothing to send over. I'm going to hit send. I also recommend just anytime that you do send money back and forth, especially if you were new on Solana, because of the fact that there really isn't any transaction fees to really worry about and deal with. I'm going to recommend that you send yourself a small test, $5. See if that worked, if it made it over there safely before you go spend anything else, because you don't want to risk sending it to the wrong address, because if you do, again, your money's gone. So always do these double checks. I've been into crypto since 2013. I've made mistakes. I've messed up. And I just make it a common practice that I always do that. So now we can see our burner wallet has the 0.2 Sol. And the reason I want to do this is that if for some reason this project was going to scam me, I don't believe that's going to happen here. But if it did, the most I can lose is 0.2 Sol or $30 here, versus if in my main account you have whatever amount of money or other NFTs, I could potentially lose those. So I want to be careful of that. So just want to make sure everyone's following so far in chat. This makes sense to everybody. Let me know. I'll try to pull up Discord. But yeah, let me know if anyone is confused. I'll try to slow it down or re-explain. But I want to have that be the address that I'm signed into here before I connect my wallet. It's just a little bit easier. And we'll go from there. So now I'm going to click here to select my wallet. I'm going to click Phantom. And we're going to connect. And this is where, again, take a pause, make sure it's right. This app would like to view your wallet balance and activity, request approval for transactions. Again, I don't know what is there on some of these, projects that have done something nefarious, but all looks good to me. I'm going to click connect, and it's now going to show me that that's the same wallet that is connected here. So I can see that. And really easily, I'm just going to click mint, and I'm not going to cry as a web designer that the button here is messed up. We're going to review the transaction. So again, remember how it says 0.175 based on some additional fees or whatnot that are somehow added onto this. It's technically going to cost 0.18697. The network fee is, a fraction of a couple of cents or fraction of a cent. So I'm going to hit approve. And then we're just going to give that a second here. It might take 30 seconds for this to go through or whatnot. And let's see what goes through. Something else to note, and so I can see that this went through because now I only have $2 in the account. Something to keep in mind, you need to use one of the wallets that are going to be, actually I want to disconnect this. Like in this case, we can see Phantom, Solet, Solflare, Ledger, Solong, Math Wallet. It has to be one of those. You can't use like your Coinbase account to do this. It's got to be one of these that can connect. And so, that's something that we want to keep an eye on. And I was serious. I'm going to kick or ban somebody if they say stuff. So careful in chat. So let's go back here and let's showcase what that looks like. But now I can look at my wallet. I'm going to click on these 4 squares over here. And I can now see the NFT that I got, and we'll give that a second to just load up the graphics. I don't know why this one's taken a while. See if I click into it. So it's going to show that that's from that collection. And again, we'll give it a minute or two, and I'm sure it'll show up eventually. It might just be pulling in from the database or wherever they're hosting things. But does that make sense to everybody? As I went through that, does that make sense in terms of what that process is like and how to mint an NFT?
Honestly, I think a lot of people were just trying to DM us. So
all right, if you were busy doing that, go through and watch. I'm not going to mint another one, but the process would be that I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select my wallet. I'm going to connect it to Phantom. So now it's connected there, and then I would click on mint. There's not enough money in the account for this because, again, I used a burner wallet that wouldn't have the full amount. So this wouldn't go through if I tried. I'm going to hit cancel. But if I were to hit approve and it would mint and the collection is not sold out, then I'm going to see that money be pulled from the account. And then eventually this would show up here in the collection. So we'll come back and check in there to see what it is that we got and what that might look like. But that's what the mint process is like. It's pretty easy. Oh, here we go. So we got this, I don't know, it's sassy pink cat lady nose thing. So that's the NFT that we got in this collection. Sometimes you'll see some additional metadata down here that'll link to the project. We can see what background we got, what pattern, skin, facial features, hair, mouth, so all the different attributes that are a part of this. And then later, this is where, we're going to see what that looks like in terms of the rarity chart for this particular project. And so we could take a look at that later and just see, if there's something on here. Again, no affiliation. I know nothing about this project. I just saw that it was an open and available mint. But at some point, I would hope they're going to put out like a rarity chart and we can see, did we get lucky and get a really good pull and something that might be awesome and is later on the collection here. So we'll see. I don't think this would be, I think they have to sell out before it gets listed. But later on, we'll see this here on Magic Eden and we can come back and see what that looks like in terms of stuff. So And then I know folks said, I'm a mobile user, I can't use Phantom. I'm not sure if there are any other wallets that do have a mobile wallet available, but I know that Phantom is working on that, and it should be coming out sometime in January. So hopefully before our launch. Cool. Just checking my calendar and time. All right. So let's maybe go through some other questions if
All right.
there's anything else that we want to go over.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the chaos in Slack, in Discord. Go through that.
I got one. Someone was asking, I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to mint a Drony. I'm not on the early bird list, but I would love to be able to mint just one. I believe in this project and love the work you guys do. Thank you. So the way that drop will work is that if you are on the early bird list, that is essentially our pre-sale list, which means that you will be able to mint ahead of the general public. You want to be on that list. It's really worth getting on there because that will ensure that you have that opportunity. We're still talking about if we are going to limit that pre-sale list only by one, or if it, I should say, limited to one, or if it will be open and you can purchase as many as you would like before it goes out to the public. There's a lot of different things that we're talking about and considering with that. And we'll get that information out to you as we get closer. But that list will ensure that you get that access ahead of time. We have no idea what the project is going to do in terms of how quick it might sell out. There's projects that sell out in 30 seconds. There's projects that sell out in 30 minutes, 30 hours that don't sell out. So hopefully everyone's really excited and we get that, active engagement and folks that are going to be in there quick. So being on that early bird list will help ensure that you have the best chance of getting in there early and grabbing one or more ahead of time. So that's going to be something that we want to do.
Cool. I had something to regards to the one-on-ones for customs that we're making. Pablo was asking when we have like illegal problems with the Dronies that people will get based on the different pop culture references and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's something that we're working with the legal team and making sure that we stay in the realm of fan art and things like that. You'll notice that we replace a lot of the branded like logos or icons and stuff to be a part of our lore. And so, we want to navigate that as best as possible and make sure that we're in good shape.
Yeah, and some people might notice like the Naruto one has like the I forgot what's the name of the symbol on the plate on the forehead that we haven't removed.
Yeah, that one was a mistake. That shouldn't have been shown yet.
Yeah, and we kind of leaked it as our official art. We're gonna be changing it to Drony's logo later, just again to be sure that all the copyrighted materials are safe. If there's like different colors that we're using, we're trying to change them and tweak them just to be, being fan art, not being the actual representation of that thing or of that IP. So, let's do another one.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Okay, I'm pretty sure. So let's clear the air. Did we work with Disney?
Oh, yeah. Great question. So no, we keep addressing this. Again, we're here to be totally transparent and stuff. No, that was not a correct fact. It was not an intentional mislead or anything by the Jpeg Lord. I messaged him afterwards. It was like, bro, where did you get that from? So he had mentioned he had seen some Disney related work on our Dribble page, and we do have Courtney, who's our lead designer on the project, had done some illustration fan art in the past that was like Wreck-It Ralph and a couple other Disney characters. And then we did have a teammate that did some freelance work and did like a landing page and some illustrations for Star Wars. And so he took that as though we had worked on it, and that is not true. We would love to. That'd be a really fun client to work with. Have almost a couple times in the past, but no, we have not worked with them. But if you type in, I think team or exclamation team in the Discord, it'll tell you more about us as well as some of the clients that we have worked with. And we've worked with a lot of awesome and big clients, but not Disney. So that wasn't meant to mislead. I think just a honest misunderstanding on some of the work that they saw.
Right. And there's a really cool question by Eddie Domingos about like, a lot of influencers and just in general sense of the community having, NFTs aren't going to last and crypto's not going to last. And sort of like investing in the projects long-term and whatnot. So, and there's like a lot of similar questions like, what's the utility? What's the roadmap? What's the plan with Jonies? What's the vision? Which I can answer if you want to answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Folks have been saying crypto's not going to be a thing and it's fake and monopoly money and NFTs aren't a thing. And what I would say is just history and time has very much proven otherwise. If I could go back and give past Peter any advice, it would be to go in a whole lot more bullish than I did throughout, the last almost 10 years now. So, you got to make your own decision and we can't tell you what to do or what not to do or how you should spend your money, by all means. But, we're excited about this space as a team. That's why we're having so much fun on the project. This is what we like. This is what our team is into outside of work. So it's really fun to get to work on it for ourselves, and just have that kind of fun. So who knows what the future will be in that regard. We're excited and positive and bullish on all that stuff. And then in terms of, additional like utilities and whatnot, again, there's a lot of things we want to build. I mean, one of the first ideas we had kind of similar to, again, that sort of Kickstarter model was, we thought it'd be cool to say, again, and this isn't happening, but I'm bringing this up because this is where our headspace is at and things that we want to, keep an eye on is that, what if we built, say, a board game and, the people from that initial drop that essentially invested in the project to help us allow to produce and create that got some kind of royalty on the future sales of that item? That would be super cool. Again, that dances that line of security and concerns, and we've seen projects get delisted from marketplaces. We've seen projects that when they take away those mechanics so that they can stay listed on marketplaces and whatnot, that the community just kind of disappears and abandons. So the approach that we're taking, and it's been really awesome to hear folks in our community say like, thank you for explaining this and helping us understand and whatnot, that can be really dangerous until we know more, until things like settle a little bit more in the space, because we don't want to do something that could jeopardize the project long term and create some massive issues for it. To kind of tie that into some other things, like folks were asking, is this going to be collector or creator owned IP? And by that we mean, can you go print or sell a print of your character, or can you use your character as a story in like a children's book or something? And that's something that we're, again, actively talking with legal about and figuring out what the best way. Is it limited? Is it completely open? But that's stuff that we have to be smart about, because, if we do want this to turn into, say, a TV show or a board game or whatnot, we don't want to see the characters be used in some way that would jeopardize or harm the integrity or, the image of the brand. And so this is all stuff that, again, we got to think about. We're treating this as it is. It's a business, and it needs a business plan, and it needs to be done the right way. We're not here for a cash grab of like, let's just launch this thing, make our money, and move on to the next thing. We want to continue this to be a premier project and, item in the space. And that's the goal here. So, yeah.
Yeah, but like overall, the vision for Jonies, it's when you really think about, okay, how do you build a brand? How do you build an empire, long term? It's not happening over time. Well, it's happening over time. It's not happening overnight. And it's not definitely not going to happen when you constantly go into like, oh, what's the new fad or just the new trend of the week, and you kind of jump in on that and just like, well, maybe floor is lava at that point, and you're just jumping in heads on into some kind of like get rich scheme by like doing like revenue share or something like that, and essentially you lose everything. And that's not what we want to do. That's what we're trying to avoid. A lot of those kind of like utility projects, they're cool, they're great. The problem of SAC is that we don't know what's going to happen, and there's history. The blockchain is a history. It's essentially the whole meaning of the blockchain. You always know what happens. So like, even let's say we do something this week and then next week we're going to remove that, right? Well, that's not going to fly. A SAC is going to see that, and B, you guys lose all the value basically of the project. That's not how we want to build this. It's going to be very thoughtful, and like the vision, as I outlined like multiple times, it's really is like we're this beacon of hope for people who are burned out by rug pulls, because we're open, we're here, we're staking everything on this by openly talking about who we are, where we at, just basically being a docs team that's like, hey, here we are, here's the team, we're working here full time, we're here to support every single one of you, and by doing that we elevate this sort of stress, I'd say, regarding like, what is this team, who are they, what are they gonna do after this. We're gonna do a lot of things after min, and we're gonna build this with community. We'll figuring out what are the mechanics of how does that look like. Is it something like, let's say you hold a journey for 10 days to get a vote, and we'll see, okay, now for next 90 days this is what we're gonna build. Is it something like that? Is something different? Again, we're gonna be communicating more and more closer to launch as to how everything's gonna go. We're still debating a lot of that stuff internally and whatnot, but like, as this is a beacon of hope for people who are tired of rug pullers, and this is a lighthouse for all of you that are new to this space. We're the safest project probably on Solana right now, because we're there's no like utilities that make it explicitly dangerous, right? We're not doing any revenue shares and whatnot. This is a very pure project, and we're trying to keep it that way, because the more pure we are, the more capable we are in the future, the more open we are, and the more like things that we can do are actually able to do. And when you really think about the crypto space and NFT space, everything is like primordial soup right now. There's like Austin was saying, like, we're not even crawling. We don't even have legs in the space. It's so early here, and you guys are super awesome for being early in this space. It's crazy when you think like there's no like dinosaurs yet. We're still eating, and all the different molecules, and trying to learn what does this mean to have a blockchain, what does this mean to have like virtual identity, virtual avatar that represents us in this meta universe, and how does this all work. Constantly there's new things coming out. But what I'm gonna say is like a lot of things trying to be rushing to be the first. We're trying to slow down to last, and this is like our approach. We're taking the approach of a tortoise, not the hare here, and I think tortoise always wins. So yeah, that's our vision. We'll want to be at some point, want to be Disney of NFT space. That's our vision. It's gonna be maybe in 5 years, it's gonna be maybe in 10. We're gonna get there. So yeah,
and to that note, there's, and also I just want to say again, everybody relax. If you messaged us, we're going to get to it. We probably got like 100 to 200 messages, and while Dave and I are trying to talk to almost 200 live viewers, as well as monitor chat a little bit, Moss is getting through all of that. So be patient. Again, relax. We got you. It's going to take some time. Constantly checking in the chat is making it harder for us to follow all the other things. So just patience. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of plans for this project and series. Again, we wrote this to be like a TV series where, we've got, we're launching season 1, but again, the other seasons have been written. So, without giving away too much, again, the storyline is going to open, and it is going to be both interactive. It is going to be opening up different characters, different, I'm going to say groups. Our plan is to have additional series or NFT collections as part of the universe that, there's going to be advantages to holding or having a droney. There might be airdrops that are exclusive to dronies holders and things like that. There might be, future, I'm just gonna say future things, so I don't give anything away. So that's why we're so excited about this. And someone was like, why do we believe in it? We've been working for almost 5 months now, and had more than one team fully dedicated from our company, working on this over those 5 months. At times, probably 2 to 3 teams, in conjunction between like brand and web and product and things like that. So we believe in this enough that we've obviously invested our own time and money and resources to build this, and have it be something that's really awesome. And we're super excited to do that and bring it to life. And we're having a lot of fun with this because, again, this is what we love and are passionate about. And I mean, our NFT collectors channel and our crypto channel are the 2 most active channels in our company Slack, especially after hours. And so, we're excited about that, and really we're enjoying this. We get to create for ourselves for the things that we love. We're super excited. And for those that are freaking out about how to get on the early bird list, again, patience on the messages, but just stay here, be active and engaged with us, and we will get you set up and squared away. Again, we want to reward people that are here and active and that we see all the time. We're not looking for folks that just pop in once and then disappear. We want folks that are really here to build and be a part of that community and excited. We really appreciate folks that are here and giving us ideas. We've had folks that are lawyers or that are do handle security type stuff or finance, and they're like, hey, I have some ideas. I want to chat with you and see if this is a way that we could do this thing safely. Like, we love those conversations. We're talking with some community members about maybe doing some physical products of dronies. We're already working on merch and getting that ready and stuff, but there's a lot of stuff coming. Again, just not just with the early bird here on the stream, but please be patient with us in DMs. We've got a ton of DMs to go through, and we do our best to both stay on top of the active chats as well as, getting through probably anywhere between 20 to 100 DMs a day, and making sure that we're responding to everybody. So if we haven't responded yet, it doesn't mean that it's not important or that we don't care. We're just trying to get through the list. So bear with us. And we're almost at 6,500 people in Discord. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Right. And please be nice. Don't start with messages. Don't spam us and cross spam us.
And someone asked, can you lose your whitelist spot? If you are rude to any member of this team or any member of the community, I will banhammer you with fiery justice, and I will drop your early bird spot. That is gone. That is not going to be tolerated or accepted in this community. So be nice and kind to each other. If anybody steps out of line, that's not cool, and we don't want you as part of this community if that's going to be how you're at. So yes, you can, only for those reasons. Otherwise you're good. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a gamer. Banhammer is just like in my history and vocabulary, but yeah, swift justice will be induced. Let me see if we've got any other questions here that we want to touch base on.
Sorry.
Do we think dronies are going to be hyped like the apes or other NFT projects that are booming right now? I mean, we definitely hope so. That's ultimately going to be up to the community. I actually have myself photoshopped as Leonidas from 300, like stomping the guy into the well. I did that one a long time ago. But that's going to depend on the community and how excited people are. We hope that we've got a really good platform and foundation. Again, we want to build a really clean project that is safe from a lot of the kind of hokey and hinky mechanics going on right now. And, we don't want to do anything that's shady in this project. We're going to be open and transparent as we do everything. Getting to work with Solana has been really helpful and obviously has its benefits and perks. And somebody had asked, are we working with influencers? We have a lot of really good connections, and there are a lot of really cool things that are coming out because of doors that are opened because of that. And I'm not going to name drop or give anybody away, but you're going to start to see some customs roll out for some really cool people. Yeah, we're having a lot of conversations, and we're trying to build something really cool. So it's great to get connected with those people and just have an opportunity to tell them, what are we building? How are we doing it? Why are we doing it? And seeing them get excited. We're not doing paid promos. We are not doing the accounts that you see that like, tag, follow, retweet 2 friends and gets you on a list or gets you a free mint. We're not doing any of that stuff. If you DM us that, we're just going to ignore you, or we'll say we're not doing that. And I love the thumbs down responses and trolley stuff when we turn those folks down. So yeah, want things to be clean. Yu, I see you keep asking this. Any ideas on what dronies would look like in the metaverse space and that world? We're going to have to see what that could look like. I think somebody had asked in one of our questions, is it something where we can fly? Can we, do we shoot down the dronies? All the things. What's up, Dave?
Go to Raj's account.
Oh, did something happen on Raj's account today?
Did something happen?
Let me take a look at that. Let's go over to Twitter. I actually didn't know this was happening, but I'm curious to see it. Let's go take a look at dronies. Thank you for the call out. That's cool. Oh, whoa. Oh, that's awesome. Let's go. I'm going to give everybody the larger version of that here in Figma, but that is freaking cool.
Let's go.
Sorry, I didn't know that was happening. This is a completely genuine reaction of that. That is super, super fun. Heck yeah. We'll have to tweet something in a minute. Here, let's go back over to Figma then. Actually, I have it right here. So here's kind of the larger version. Let me make sure it's kind of in line. Yeah, there we go. So we built this one out for Raj. He is a big, all black, matte black, kind of all the things. And so we've got him with the Solana shades. We've got our the crow with the knife, and I'll show you guys the meme that comes from. The tungsten cube. We've got the Solana juice battery pack here on the background. And I'm not going to say any of this out loud, so that way our video doesn't get taken down. But if you remember when Raj got removed from Twitter for 24 hours during Breakpoint. So we've got our good morning and some things that had happened during that event that were kind of comical. So super fun, super cool to see that. That just absolutely made my day, and really cool. You can hang out in here, but I think I need you to stay off the camera, honey, because I don't think I could have kids on the stream, and that changes something with streaming stuff. So yeah, super, super fun. That is really neat. And let's go back over here for a minute.
I need to breathe for a minute.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's go back to that for a sec, because I want to show a couple of them, which maybe Dave, so I don't give it away, or I can multitask a little more. Why don't you drop a couple of the, let's just drop all the Solana
team
customs. Yeah. And we'll go over that a little bit.
Where do you want me to drop them?
Do it in the stream Figma file. That way I know it's safe to share. And
dropped it.
Hang on, let's zoom out really, really fast. All right. Go over a couple others. Let's see where you put it. Here's.
Are you in the file?
It is. It's probably reconnecting for a second. But this is kind of where that meme came from. The idea of the steak knife. Okay. Yeah, really cool. I think I sent you this link on Discord before the stream. This is one we used in the first stream. And again, you guys can see here some of the older iterations, early kind of prototypes where you're testing around all kinds of different body and head types and things like that. And just really fun stuff.
It's pasting in.
Cool. And then here, I'm going to snap over to you. Awesome. So yeah, we've got Austin, and is his cat Mochi? Is that right? I feel like that's right.
Remember.
But yeah, his cat was actually one of the first NFTs ever minted on Solana, so that's kind of cool to see. So we've got Austin here and kind of his recognizable hair. Bartosz and Jordan. Bartosz is always rocking the mohawk and drinking coffee, so we had made him this guy here. Jordan's has to be one of my favorites. He's a big Warhammer 40K fan, so we did this Warhammer custom for him, and I know he's still rocking it. And this thing's my favorite. I love this one. I know he also mentioned Master Chief, so we had done some versions as well that had some of the Halo kind of armor colors as well, and that was really fun to build. And I mean, I know there's a command to show all the layers. Is it
just a control dash, and then it's like outlines for outlines.
Outlines. There we go. Show outlines. Just to show like how these things are built and all the details and whatnot. It's wild to see, how much stuff goes into this that our team works on. It's just super, super cool. We've got one for Anatoly and his scuba theme. That one's going to be really fun. And then, as we mentioned, we've got Raj up here. So really, really cool. And then, while we're looking and talking about some, this is one that Bo had worked on the last live stream. So we've got our Halo inspired droney over here. And again, go check out on the YouTube channel while you're watching. You can see Bo work on this live in real time. And I think Dave and I did, some more community Q&A and whatnot on that stream too. So super fun. And it's always fun for us to hang out with everybody and just chat and see more of, what everybody is up to and excited about and what questions everybody's got. So let me take a look here. Just catch up on stuff. Oh yeah, and Dave, I know I didn't. The cams got messed up once things reset, and I wasn't able to get that back up and running.
All good.
And yes, since I saw somebody mention Moss has got a lot going on right now, we are interested in bringing on some additional mods, community mods for the Discord. I know we got like 75 submissions already. We're going to be going through those today and getting folks onboarded really quickly. If you're interested in becoming a mod, you can type !become a mod in the chat and help us foster an awesome community, help keep people safe from scams, people being mean, all that kind of stuff, and just help us create an awesome space and give good and factual information to the community about the project, especially in the hours that we're not necessarily on and active. So if you're interested in that, definitely let us know, and we'll keep that conversation going. And since I am juggling the bazillion things, I think we've got about 15 more minutes, and then I know I've got another meeting that I'm going to have to step out for, and we'll end the stream. But until then, let us know if anyone has any other questions. I think somebody asked about, dang it. Why is it changing the resolution midstream? I am sorry, everybody. Thank you for hanging in and dealing with some of these technical issues today. This has been...
It's time to reinstall Windows.
Oh, man. Seriously. This is rough. It's annoying that I don't know when it's going to happen, and it happens. Let me put us kind of back more or less in the middle. So someone was asking, can we see some of the generative stuff? Let's head over to Figma, and I will once again show a little bit of that because we do have some. So these are actually real test versions. I mean, this was from about 2 weeks ago, just showcasing, what some of the possibilities can be. I think this one and this one we made, and the rest were generative. I'm going to assume. Otherwise, this is like absolute record chance of the sailor outfit and the sailor hat getting combined.
These are like based on generatives, but we're
Okay.
For marketing purposes, we prettified them.
Gotcha.
But there's 100% sense of getting any of these. Like that's all based on generation that we have.
Yeah, and so it's really cool. Again, there's I think 206 different character traits, or like was it 12 categories? 206, I think, different items. So different items meaning hat, eyes, clothing articles, textures, things like that are going to be a part of this, and really, really cool. And there's going to be some things I will tease this that you're going to discover within the collection, and little breadcrumbs that have been left there that are there for people to find and help unlock the story of the Dronies universe. So really, really fun in that regard. And then let's see if there's any other questions. And we'll be doing some more. I know we talked about maybe doing some more art streams this week. Bear with us too. It's our last week in the office before going on holiday break. So there's a lot of stuff between like end of year reviews that we're finishing up and all the things. Yeah, we're not going anywhere, but it's part of why we want to get some mods to help us out too, is we want our team to enjoy vacation. We'll still be active and a part in Discord and stuff, but we do also want everybody to get a real break and hang out and work-life balance. And if you see me, Moss, Dave on after hours and too active, tell us to go to sleep and go to bed and take a break, because that is really, really, really important. And let's just see, where did my question sheet go? And also, once you get the early bird role in Discord, you'll also see a early bird channel start to come to life, where in there you'll be able to see everybody that is on that list. We've got a public Google Doc that you can go through and see who's on it. Here, I'll pull that up really, really fast. That's the wrong one. Early bird list. But in here, again, we just want to have accountability and whatnot. So you'll see everybody that's on the list. There's a couple that I'm pretty sure this is a MetaMask address, and we'll clarify that and get that checked with everybody. But you can see who's been added on here and what that looks like and confirm your address is right. So again, we're just putting everything out in the open. Everybody's going to be able to see this stuff and make sure that everything's on the up and up. All right, so let's grab a couple more questions. If anyone, I'm going to try to read some YouTube
haven't
questions.
been keeping up with YouTube.
Yeah. Sorry, there's so many
I have
stuff.
like 4 chests.
Yeah. So someone was asking, if you're able to get your mint, do you want to keep it in that burner wallet or whatnot? I would recommend move it over to your main wallet. The only reason you want to use that burner is for that initial mint purchase, to ensure that nothing has been, that more things didn't get pulled out than it should have than just the purchase price. So since, it costs less than a cent to do these transactions, mint it from a burner, then send it to your main wallet. I personally like to keep my stuff under a physical ledger cold wallet or hardware wallet. That way it is extra safe, because somebody would have to have that physical device, my password to that device, and have it connected to the computer under the correct account in order to move anything. And that just gives kind of ultimate security to things. So yeah, I would recommend that. Let's see. Yeah, I think we got through the majority of questions in that doc, and let's see if anyone has any additional questions. What benefits do mods get? We're a design agency. We respect people's time and effort. So whether that is compensation in just cash value, or if they want to be compensated through getting a mint or mints for the project, then that's, what we're going to do. We're not expecting anybody to put in that extra time and effort and whatnot for free. We're not here to take advantage of anybody. So we really value those folks helping out. So that is, in whichever method, going to be a paid position to help us out and be a part of that community team. Josh is asking, when are we doing the Figma stream? Brother, whenever you want. We are down. We were actually just chatting about reaching out to you and Raji about that. We would love to talk about how Figma is not a design tool, and then show all the awesome design that can be done in Figma, and how we do all of our illustrations and branding and everything for this project. And maybe we can do a stream where we dive into all the artwork and like different iterations we did on the website, and all the stuff, get our illustrators to go in and talk about stuff. We would love that, man. Be super, super fun. So let's see, any other, is there a most rare and least rare droney? Yes, and probably in a couple of different fashions. So obviously all of the one-of-ones are completely unique one-of-one characters, and those, really don't share any attributes with anything else. Maybe something like an eye or whatnot. But I think the way that we're classifying them is that it will be, specific to that one. So it'll be completely one of one. And then there will be dronies that have different rarity levels and attributes. So, there's going to be one that's technically the most rare generative droney, and has the most rare traits and, random generative items based on that. But something that we're working really, really hard on, and where we're spending a ton of our time, is on the DNP, or do not pair list, where we're honing in, items that don't work well together. And that might be something like there's a feather on some of the dronies that comes out and it doesn't look good with a hat. So that head type and that hat won't ever pair together so that it looks best. And we're doing the same thing if we ever see any items that, again, as a design agency, this is like where we really thrive. And we go, hey, this color combination doesn't work. So maybe we don't want this color background to go with this color body type. And so we might set a DNP that helps prevent some of those. So our goal is, whether you get the number one item in the collection or the last item in the collection, that you're going to be happy and excited about what you get. And of course, just like any collection, there can be a cleanliness factor of ones that are just simple and clean. And, then there's some that are busier, but they can be just as fun and interesting. There's going to be ones that might resonate with you based on your personality or character traits. And so we want everyone to look good. And, I think other collections like Grim Syndicate did an amazing job of that, where my favorite Grim that I have in my collection is actually, I think, the highest number ranked, but I think it's the one that I like best. It's got the cool dad hat and, clean look to it. And I just like it. So the numbers and rarity are whatever you want to take that to be. Some people put a lot of heavy emphasis on that, and some just go for the ones that they like. So, yeah. And we probably got time for one or two more questions. And pre-crypto workout, you guys are good people. Thank you. We want to be a transparent. We're a docs. Dang it, resolutions. Why?
No.
We want to be a really clean project, and it's really important. And I think part of why we had the opportunity to work together with Solana throughout this process is that they've worked with us before. They know what kind of quality and work that we do. They know our character, and that when we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And we want to bring more legitimacy to the Web3, the crypto, the NFT space, and be a project that, like Dave said, can be, you can call it a lighthouse in kind of a dark and stormy, waters, or just something that, is able to bring in more people and adoption by doing things the right way. And again, utilities like royalties or earnings or profit sharing or staking, all these things we're totally open to these ideas. We're not closed off to it. But until we know we can do it safely without potentially ruining, damaging, or hurting the project and the holders, because if it becomes a security and there is regulation around that, each and every one of you have to deal with that nonsense and file different things or whatnot. We want to avoid that. So if we find out that we can do that stuff safely later, I'm going to say more likely count us in. But until we can do it and do it right, we want to be overly cautious and careful with that stuff so that we don't damage anything, to where if you're going to put your trust and invest in this project and invest in this team and this community, that it's something that you can do so safely. I personally am not investing in any projects that have those kinds of mechanics until I know more about it, because of the dangers involved, because I don't want to deal with it. That's just me. That's just my personal view and outlook. And as we get more information on those things, maybe that would change. But going to be really, really important in that regard. Maybe one more question, and then I'm just going to recap a couple of things about the team and some kind of core info. And yes, I use a Ledger Nano X. That's my preferred hardware wallet. So I recommend those if anyone is looking. And then, a couple other things. If you're looking to get on the pre-sale or early bird list, type in, not everybody, one person can do it. We'll all see it. Exclamation early bird in the Discord. It'll give you more information. But in short, we're looking for an engaged and active community. We're going to see you, and we're going to recognize and remember the names and faces and PFPs of folks that are active in Discord that we see often talking about the project and sharing things on Twitter. And we just want this to be an organic growth project. It's been really fun to see in the last couple of days. I mean, we've gained anywhere between, I think, 750 to like 1,500 people a day on Twitter and Discord. And we're doing all this through just legit, no paid shills, no nothing. We would rather have a quality community rather than the quantity, because we're doing some of those things that we know might rush people in, but it's not going to have that engaged and excited community. So we want to run this the right way. We want to run it clean. And other than that, we are minting sometime in January. We're chatting more with Jordan about that, as any issues with Candy Machine 2.0 get flushed out, as well as I know there's a hacker house running in January, and I know Jordan is running that, as well as running our drop. And he's basically not available during hacker house. So it's either going to be before or it'll be after the hacker house event. And as we get more details around that, we'll let y'all know. As we get more details around mint price and mint method and all the things, we are going to communicate this super heavily. We're super on top of that kind of communication in Discord and on Twitter and all the things. And, again, as this community grows, and there's been like 1,000 new people, I think, since last night, just be patient with us, and we're going to get to all your messages. We will respond to everybody. It just might take a little bit of time. So, anyways, really, really excited for everybody to be here and come with us on this journey and be excited about this project. We've got a lot more stuff to share. We're going to be doing more leaks and sneaks all throughout the week and over the holiday break as well. We've got some more ideas for some fun contests and giveaways and just all the things. So stay tuned, stay active and engaged with us. We are watching the same way as the dronies are. We see everything that's going on, and just excited, and thank you all for coming along with us. And Moss, Dave, anything else you guys want to end with?
No, I just want to say thank you all for being here and for watching and for asking us some questions and for engaging our community and just being wholesome. Like, just reading chat sometimes and talking with you is like the best thing ever. It makes me smile and feel happy and have warm, fuzzy feelings.
So thank you all so much. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's fun seeing this community forum, and like I remember when we were like, are we going to make too many international? Every single one of those has been active. We're seeing folks from all over. If there's another channel that you would like based on your region or language, let us know and we can add that for you. But it's really cool to see some of these connections made, and we're connecting with awesome designers and people that make things that we might incorporate into the project and roadmap. And it's just fun. There's a bunch of people kind of in my backyard here. We're going to do some kind of dronies meetup and just hang out and get coffee or something, go for a hike. It's really, really cool to see all this naturally form and happen. So thank you all for joining us today. We'll be doing some more streams throughout the week, whether it's on Twitter Spaces or here on YouTube. Keep checking in, and we'll chat with y'all more in a bit. Everybody have a good day, and thanks for tuning in.